Well, hello Internet, and welcome to part 3 of my technical analysis course with Python, in which we're basically explaining data science as a real-world concept by analyzing stocks. Alright, so if you've not watched previous videos, you probably should, otherwise you'll be confused. We're going to start off here. I already have all of the libraries that are required, and there's a whole bunch of them. I'll be writing code, though, and explaining code as we go on. But basically what I'm going to cover in this video is relative strength index, Bollinger Bands, and I'm also going to introduce you to a new technical analysis library that has over 150 different indicators, and everything works on Mac and on Windows. Now, you absolutely do not need the technical analysis library to get everything here to work, but I just wanted to provide it because it's really awesome. But it can be a little bit picky in regards to how to install it. How we're going to install it here, I'm going to show you on Mac and Windows. So, to do it on Mac, you're going to need to go to Homebrew, and you're going to, this is a website, and you're going to select this right here. Make sure you get it all. Just click on this little guy right here to copy it. Then you're going to jump into your terminal, you're going to paste this in here and hit enter. All right, and that's going to install Homebrew if you haven't already installed it. Then what you want to do, once that's all set up, is you're going to come in and type brew install TA-Library, like that, and hit enter. And it's going to install absolutely everything that you need. After that has completed, you're then going to come in here, this is inside of Anaconda, and you're going to go and click on Qt console launch, and you're going to specifically come in and type pip install TA-library. Exactly like that. Make sure all the uppercase letters are exactly the same, and that will install. And that is the complete installation process for installing on Mac. Now for Windows, it's slightly more complicated. You're going to go to a website, which is this website right here, github.com. The code that is available on GitHub for free has this link right here. So you're just going to copy and paste that inside of there. And then you scroll down and it's going to show you everything you have to do to install on Windows. So basically you need to download this file and you're going to have to unzip it to this very specific directory. And then you can go and you're going to have to install Visual Studio Community, which is 100% free, but we're going to use the 2020 version, which is this guy right here. So just click on download Visual Studio, and whenever you do, it's going to have a whole bunch of things. It's going to ask if you want to install them. Just make sure you click on Visual Studio C++. It's going to say Visual C++, I believe. So just download this guy. After that has all installed, what you need to do, as you can see here from the website I referenced, is you need to run the native tools command prompt. And where you find that is just click on Start, and you're going to see native tools command prompt for Visual Studio. This is 2019, whatever it says. This is what it is, and you click on that. Whenever you do, a command prompt is going to open up, and you're going to want to change to wherever directory is where you have all of your TA library files, and you're going to want to go to this specific directory, which is MSVC. And once you get there, you're going to want to make sure that you see all these different files here, more specifically makefile, and you're going to type in nmake inside of your command prompt and hit enter. And it is going to install everything you need. Then you're going to go to this website. See, I have everything in the GitHub file. So we're going to go here, paste this inside of here, and you're going to see something that looks like this. TA-Lib is specifically what we're looking for. And what you want to do is you want to pick the version for whatever version of Python you're using. Probably going, so if you're using Anaconda, you probably have 3.8. So you're going to want to go and download those files. Then you're going to want to open up your file and you're going to want to save this. See, I have it in my downloads directory. And this is the specific version I downloaded for Python 3.8 right there. And you're going to want to go pip install and then point exactly at the location for wherever that file is and hit enter. And then you can come in here and open up again Qt console, exactly the same on Windows, and you can type in pip install TA-Lib if you have to, if you get any other error messages or anything like that, but you shouldn't. And then you just hit enter, and then you're ready to go with that library. But like I said, this is probably enough in regards to the directions and links and so forth to be able to get there. And like I said, again, this is in the GitHub file. And you can also see the link right here for the TA library file. All right. Okay, so after we have all of that installed, just make sure you have import and the library file that you just went and installed. And now let's start talking about the relative strength index. Now, the RSI, which it is often referred to, is going to be used to determine if a security is either overbought or oversold. And with them, you're going to be able to take advantage of potential changes and those different trends. Now, the RSI is going to focus on the deviation between the upward and downward averages and have a value between 0 and 100. We are going to use 14 session periods, which is the most commonly used. And whenever we do that, values over 70 are considered to be overbought, and those below 30 are considered to be oversold. And I have additional information there. All right. So to get started, what we need to do is download our stock data. And I'm going to go and get some AMD data. Now, things are going to be a little bit weird because we just had Thanksgiving in the US, and there's going to be some breaks in our data, but we'll survive. All right, so we're going to type in AMD is what we want to install. And again, you have to have all these different libraries here installed. I'm specifically using Y-Finance here to download this stock data. So very important that you have all that. And I'm going to say that I want to get, and you can see here, our valid periods and valid intervals. Now, a valid period is going to be 1 day price data, or 1 day worth of price data. And then let's say you wanted every minute of price data for 1 day. Okay, that's how that works. If you wanted every 2 minutes of price data over 5 days, that's the way that works. Okay, so you just have to define exactly what you're looking for. I'm going to say I want 3 days worth of price data, and I want to use an interval of 15 minutes. And you can see here, we can download all this real-time data exactly like that. All right, so what's AMD doing today? Well, it looks like it is going up. All right, so pretty good stuff. Up to 59, so that's good. And I actually own AMD stock, not that I'm recommending it, but yeah, it makes me happy. All right, so now after we have our stock data, what do we want to do here? Well, we want to calculate our relative strength index, and we're going to plug it into a column in this very specific data frame. All right, so there's going to be a new one called RSI that's going to be right over there. So how do we go and do that and calculate? Well, I just say AMD, I refer to this data frame, and RSI, exactly like that. And I just say TA.RSI and NP.array and AMD DF and close. And then come over here and define my time period. Well, I already said I am using 14. Now we can go like this, and AMD DF, and now we have our RSI column. Now it takes a while for that to be calculated because we're working with moving average data. All right, so now after I have all that set up, what I want to do is plot the RSI. And what I want to do is plot it in subplots because I want the candlestick plot to be on top, and then I want the RSI plot to be underneath of it. So to do that, I have to go figure and make subplots like this, and I'm going to say that I want what? I said I want 2 different plots, one with the candlesticks and one with the RSI. So I'm just going to go rows, this is rows like that, and columns, and we're only going to have 1 column, and I'm going to say shared axes is equal to true, and let's go to the next line, vertical spacing. I'm going to put some spacing between the 2 plots, and the amount of spacing, if I can spell spacing correctly, spacing is going to be 0.01. Okay, just very, very slight amount of spacing there. And then I'm going to define how I want to divvy up the total amount of space height-wise. So this is heights, and I'm going to say that I want my candlestick plot to take up 70%, and I want the RSI plot to take up 30%. All right, now I have to go and define my plot, my candlestick plot. So I'm going to go candlestick like this, and then on the x-axis it's going to be the index, which is going to be the price data. So the AMD DF and index. And the open is going to be AMD DF. And I'm going to be able to get that from our opening column. So see, it's right here, open, and then I have to give open, high, low, and close to be able to do a candlestick plot. So I'm going to say open, and high is going to be equal to AMD DF, and just reference high. This is the high column. And then I'm going to do low, and again, I am going to reference that data frame and specifically get the low column. And close is going to be AMD DF and the closing price. And I'm going to give it a name so it shows up in the key. I don't know. Do I want to keep the key? Let's just put it there just in case I want the key or I don't want. All right. So there that is. Now the RSI is going to be extremely easy to go and work with or calculate or plot, I guess I should say. So again, this is going to be AMD DF and index, and Y is going to be AMD data frame and RSI, like that. Let's go to the next line. And now I want to define what I want my line to look like. So let's say that I want it to have the color is going to be blue, and the width, I'm going to define it as 2. All right, so there that is. All right, what else would I like to do? Well, let's go and add these 2 traces to our subplots. So add trace, and then I just simply say candle, and I define what row I want it on. I want it on the first row, and there is only 1 column, and so I'm going to put it on the 1 column. And then I'm going to do almost exactly the same thing. So let's just copy this and paste it inside of here. And RSI and row 2 and column 1. And one thing, remember I said with the RSI plots, let's come way up here again. I'm going to consider 70 to be considered overbought and below 30 to be oversold. So it would be nice if I had those lines plotted out on the screen. So let's do that also. So I'm going to say figure and add, and how you do a horizontal line is you just type in horizontal line, exactly like that. And specifically, I am saying that I want to get the 30 for 30%, and I'm going to define my line width to be equal to 1, and I'm going to say that I want this to be a dashed line, so I'm going to say dash like that, and line color is going to be, let's say we want it to be red. I don't know, that's good. Let's put this on the next line. It's getting a little cramped here. And I am going to say this is definitely going to be on the second row for the RSI plot. And there is only 1 column, so we have to do that. Now I got 30, and now what I need to do is also get 70. So just change this to 70, and let's change the color for this to green because that looks good. All right, so now I got all those set up. Let's say I want to go and give this a title. So I can say update layout, and I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to say that I want my title. Whoops, accidentally hit that. That's not good. Title is going to be equal to and AMD. Exactly like that. All right, now one of the problems whenever we plot this is that it is going to show empty dates. So we don't want things like Saturday up until Monday morning to be showing, and we also don't want off periods whenever the stock market isn't open at specific times. So I'm going to say update layout, and I'd also like to define what my height is. So let's say I want it to be 900 so that it fills up my total area. My width to be 1200. And do I want to show the legend? Remember I was asking about that. I'm going to say show legend is actually going to be false. And x-axis, I'm going to go and say I do not want the range slider because it's going to go and collide with the RSI file or RSI plot and so forth. So I'm going to set this to visible is equal to also false, and also x-axis range breaks. This is where I'm going to define what data I do not want to show on the screen. And if you want to go and, let's say, get rid of Saturday through Monday because there's no data, so of course you want to get rid of that, you just say Saturday like this and Monday, and we can continue on here. Actually, it's like this. Okay, so I got this. And then we're going to also say that we want to get rid of time periods whenever the market is closed, because we are dealing with 15-minute intervals. So I'm going to say bounds is equal to, and I'll say 16 and 5. This is going to be 9:30 in the morning. And you have to define that you are considering hour in this situation. Okay. And what else would we like? Well, let's say that this isn't really going to apply in this situation, but let's say that you have an insane amount of data, like months and months of data or years and years of data, and you want to get rid of certain holidays. Well, we can just say values, and you can pick certain dates. So 2021, 12, 25, the market's closed on Christmas, and 2022 -01. So it'll be also not going to show any data for January. All right, so we have all that set up, and now we can just say figure and show like this and run it. And we got an error. Wonder what it is. Make Subplots got unexpected keyword arguments shared axes. Well, that should be shared x-axis. Run it, and there you go. So remember I said the market was closed on Thanksgiving, so that's the reason why there's no data there. And you can see here is our RSI plot. You can see here the RSI was saying that AMD was overvalued at this point in time, right here. Well, it sort of went up. All right. And so this is just a sign of how the relative strength index, you can see here, it passed below. So it was considered to be oversold at this point in time. And you can go and play around with some data that doesn't have a break in it like that to see what goes on here. But basically, we're going to use the relative strength index really to go and back up other predictions that we get and based off of other technical analysis tools. One of those tools is Bollinger Bands. Now, with Bollinger Bands, we are going to plot two lines using a moving average. And the standard deviation is going to define how far apart the lines are. So we're going to have a line above, and that is considered to be, that is called the resistance line. And we're going to have a line at the bottom that is called a support line. You can see here exactly how they are calculated. And the reason why they're important is prices tend to bounce off of these resistance and support lines, which can give you a lot of clear information in regards to potential market actions in the future. And it is very important if you see it's considered a strong trend anytime a price moves outside of a band. So if it moves above the resistance or below the support. And in situations in which our prices go over the resistance line, this is a sign of being overbought. And in situations in which it goes below the support line, that is considered to be an oversold position. So what I am going to do here is I am going to show you how to print out our Bollinger Bands using the Cufflinks quant figure module, which I talked about previously. And then I'm going to show you how to do it manually. And let's use a different stock, one that I do not own. Okay, so we're going to, again, this isn't a recommendation on stocks, it's just me talking. All right, this is purely for educational purposes. So let's say I want to go and get Microsoft data, and let's say that I want to get a period of 6 months, whoops, not 60 months, 6 months, and I want my interval, I want day data. So let's go and get daily data like that, and I can say Microsoft data frame like this. Oh, you know what? What I'm going to do instead is just quite simply go and print this out. So how you do it with this awesome little library is just say quant fig like that, and Microsoft data frame. Let's give it a title. So Microsoft quant figure and legend. I am going to define that as being at the top, and name is going to be GS. And then what you could do is you can just, if you want Bollinger Bands, you just say you want Bollinger Bands. So I can say add Bollinger Bands like that, and you have them. And then you could say I want volume data also. You just say add volume. So add volume like that, and throw that in there. And then you say qf.I plot like that, and you run it. Downloads all the Microsoft data, prints it out, and there are our Bollinger Bands that you can see printed out for us right here. Now this library provides, I actually didn't even talk about, say in the introduction I'm covering the quant figure module, but here's another one. And to show you some other cool things, there is tons of additional different indicators you can create. So let's just go be like this and throw them in there. All right, so you can go and automatically generate and show simple moving averages, exponential moving averages, trend lines, support lines, relative strength indicator, there it is, the average directional, and all of these other different indicators. All available to you. All you have to do is say that you want to add them, just like we added Bollinger Bands here. All right, so pretty neat stuff. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to show you how to hand code these Bollinger Bands. And by doing this, you're going to be able to get a lot more power in regards to how you can manipulate your data, because sometimes tweaking periods and sessions and different moving averages can actually provide you better information. So if you do it manually, you can do that. So I'm going to say Microsoft df. I'm going to go and calculate the mean and put it inside of my data frame. How I do that is I go and get our closing price and rolling, and I'm going to work with 20 sessions here. So there's that, and I just go whoops mean like that, and you can see if I go Microsoft df like this, now we have our mean data, and of course it takes a while to be able to calculate that because we're doing it over 20 periods. What else do we need? Well, we're also going to want to get our rolling standard deviation. So Microsoft df, and I'm going to go SD is equal to like this, and Microsoft df and close and rolling. And very important to have these be exactly the same. So window 20 sessions and standard deviation. All right, so we got that also. Now what do we want to do? Well, we want to go and create our Bollinger Bands, which is going to be a support and resistance line. So I'm going to say df, and I'm going to call this BB high, and equal to Microsoft data frame. And to do this, I said it before, it's up here somewhere. Where did I do it? Right here. So resistance, I'm going to get the simple moving average and add to it 2 times standard deviation, simple moving average minus 2 times standard deviation. That's how we go and calculate those. So I just need to get this and say that I want the data in mean plus, and let's throw this in parentheses, 2 times Microsoft data frame and standard deviation. And then for the other one, it's not going to really be much different. I'm just going to go copy, paste, and this is going to be low, and Microsoft data frame mean, and this will be minus 2. All right, so there we go. We have all of that data, and there we go. And now we can go and start plotting it. So I'm just going to say fig is going to be equal to go figure, and I can, whoops, make sure, I don't know why I always put this as lowercase. It's uppercase. Go figure. Let's just move this up here a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. All right, so go figure. And I'm going to define the candlestick parts. So let's go candlestick. And remember, I need the high, low, and all that other additional information. So this is Microsoft data frame. And index is the x-axis. And then we're going to define all the parts of our candlestick. So Microsoft and DF. And we'll have our open price. And we're going to have our high, which is Microsoft data frame. And high, and then we'll have our low, so Microsoft and DF and low, and what else? Again, we're going to have the closing price, Microsoft data frame, and close, and finally we're going to get our Y data, so this is going to be Y equal to Microsoft data frame, and this is going to be the high or the resistance line. Okay, so we have all of that set up, and no, actually, this is going to be, and then for the last part, let's say, maybe we want to give it a name, so we'll just call it candlestick, like that. Okay. Now, I need to also go and plot my resistance lines and my support lines. So to do that, I go and scatter x equal to Microsoft data frame and index. And then we'll just do the y-axis is going to be our BB high data. So Microsoft data frame and BB high. And let's define our color here. So dictionary and color equal to green, and let's give it a width which is equal to 1, and name, let's just call it BB high. So BB and high. I don't need that there. All right, so we want to do the same thing for the support line. So throw this here, and let's just call this low. And let's call this low, as you saw previously. And let's change the color of this to orange and change this to low. Of course, you can put resistance and support or whatever you'd like. And we got all that set. So now what we need to do is just add these traces. So candle. And let's do it for all the other two also, obviously. So bump and bump. And here is high, so grab that, throw that inside of there, and let's just throw this here and change this to low, like that. And then let's go and add a title to this. So update layout, and the title is going to be equal to Microsoft, and let's put this inside of quotes clearly. And what else do we want to do? Well, we want to get rid of any empty spaces. So I'm going to say figure and update x-axes and range breaks is equal to, and dictionary and bounds equal to, and what do we want to have this be? Well, Saturday through Monday. So Monday, exactly like that. And then just say figure show, there we are, and get rid of this extra space, get it up here and run it. And there you can see we went and created our custom Bollinger Bands. And like I said, you can change the different sessions, you can move around the different periods in moving averages to try to make better predictions. And you can also, we still have our slider here, and that's also very useful to zoom in and analyze data. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and like always, please leave your questions and comments down below. Otherwise, till next time.